Hey there, I'm Mark, and today I'm going to share a super easy recipe for one of my favorite comfort foods, Chile Verde. I'll be making a relatively small batch that should feed, about 4 or 5 hungry people. That's small for me. One of the nice things about this recipe is that you can scale it up really easily if you want a larger batch. And as with most Mexican food, it's even better the next day. Prep time on this is about a half hour, then you let it cook low and slow for about 3 hours. Okay, so let's get started with the ingredients. First, you need about 2 pounds of pork. Today there was a sale on boneless country spare ribs, and that's one of my favorites, so we're going to use that. Next, you'll need spices to season the meat. I use kosher salt, but you could use regular table salt if that's all you have. Pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. You'll need 1 good-sized onion, about 6 to 8 cloves of garlic, 1 cup of chicken broth, 1 16-ounce jar of your favorite green salsa, and finally, always add a big handful of some of these tamed jalapenos. These are actually pickled jalapenos, so they're not really hot. They add a bit of vinegar and that great jalapeno flavor without making the dish too hot for people that are sensitive to that kind of stuff. You'll also need some flour, some oil, and a crock pot or a Dutch oven. Pretty simple, huh? Let's get to the cooking. Rinse off the pork in cold water and cut it into smallish pieces. And done. Set your stove to medium heat and add some oil to the pan. Well, you've got a couple minutes while the pan's heating up. Let's get that first batch of pork ready. I usually use 2 pie pans. First one's just for adding the salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And the second one's for coating in flour. Okay, so now we add the pork to the pan. You want to brown the pork on at least 2 sides. I'm on medium heat here, so that's about 2 minutes. Remember, you're not trying to cook the pork through, you just brown the outside. Also, remember not to crowd the pan with too much meat. If you do a bunch of small batches, you'll have a better result. Trust me on this. Well, you've got 1 batch cooking, season up the next batch, get it ready to go. Once they're browned on both sides, let the excess oil drain off and then just transfer it right into the crock pot. Repeat this process till all your pork's done. Get that pan off the burner and leave a tablespoon or 2 of leftover oil in the pan. We'll be using that later. Yeah, looks pretty tasty already, huh? Okay, time for the garlic and onions. Cut the garlic into thick slices. Cut your onions any way you want. Since we browned the pork in medium heat, we didn't burn all those little bits at the bottom of the pan. That's the good stuff. You don't want to burn that. So we're going to use that to make these veggies taste better. Heat the pan back up to medium and toss the garlic in. Stir pretty frequently. After about a minute, your kitchen should start to have this really nice garlicky aroma. Time to add the onions. Reduce the heat to low and keep stirring. After about 3-4 minutes, when the onions get to be translucent, you're done. Okay, now let's put this in the crock pot on top of the meat. Okay, we're almost there. Now pour that whole jar of green salsa over everything. A bit'll stick on the side, so just pour the chicken broth into the salsa jar, shake it up, and pour that in too. And finally, we add the tamed jalapenos. Alright, give it a good stir, pop on the lid, set the heat to low. It needs to cook for at least 3 hours, but it can definitely cook longer if you want to get it going before you head out to work in the morning or something like that. Don't worry, you'll have a crock full of glory waiting for you when you get home. To tell when it's done, just pick up a chunk of meat with your tongs and give it a squeeze. If it falls apart, you're golden. If you are going to be around while it's cooking, just give it a good stir about once an hour. See, just like I said, super easy. So you'll probably want a few things to eat on the side, right? I usually go with the classics, rice and beans. Serve it all up with some warm tortillas and enjoy. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this and you want to try this at home sometime. And if you do, and you do like it, let me know in the comments or just give me a like. I'm not picky. Alright, take care now.